what was live on Granny's watching, and Julia just sent me a timestamp of something that I may be interested in listening to. So let me do this right now with you guys together. I don't know what to expect, but I think that we need to stay on top of the foot and figure out what he's actually trying to get away from. I listened only to a small part towards the end, and I heard, Chris, it was so great to have you on again. Oh, Chris, you're great, and this and that. And so I realized, this may not be something worth listening to, but let's see.
Make somebody snap. Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Of course they will.
And Chris was pretty lame. It was lame compared. I would have blown my top. Like I would have.
Say what?
I would have lost it.
Shame. Well, he kind of did lose it. I mean, we're not going to downplay what he did. It was fucking
No, I don't get me wrong.
Oh my God.
I have apologized for what I said. I have. Was it my finest moments? Absolutely not.
No.
And I would still offer that apology to her personally, but I would still let her know.
Interesting. Can you please point me towards your finest moments? I would love to really hear them. Chris Foot, what are your finest moments, dude? Seriously, I would like to hear them. I would like to know, what do you think are your best appearances and why? Which one are you proud of?
Oh, in a much different way, how I do not appreciate the things that she is saying, the things that she continues.
Do I know who he's talking about? No. Do I care? Makes no difference.
She spews. I mean, but that's here and over there. That's her choice. That's a conversation if she wants to have. We can have it offline. And I do not bring my conversations to the public that I have behind closed doors. It's nobody's business. There are people that...
Especially the ones where you and Katie privately discuss how you're going to use social media to try to sidetrack people away from anything that points towards you. Yeah, I think we kind of got that from the very beginning, Chris Foot. And of course, you're now in a panel of people who... How many people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people who are all coming together to support you. Ain't that cute?
I can contest to that.
I wouldn't trust her to have a conversation with a mouse behind closed doors.
What?
Well, you have to give them a chance. That's...
Who are these people, man? I mean, I understand that Chris is like their last hope to be something. I don't know. They.
Yeah.
I have to give them a chance.
Appreciate you letting me up. I'm just like kind of taking up space, and I need to get some stuff done. I appreciate it.
Okay, get out of here.
We'll see you later.
Later, dude.
Take care, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, thank you, Chris. Birds of a feather, people. Birds of a feather. Remember this one.
Were you guys able to get those videos taken down?
I have no idea. I am not part of any campaign, nor is Katie.
Wait.
About these billboards. I'm making it clear as I can.
Wait. What was that? Let me see. I'm not Wait, where are the... No transcript? Give me a second, people. Don't I get a transcript here? That means I have to rewind again? About the billboards taken... I did not. And then he says he's not a part of. That's pretty interesting, right? Oh, sorry, it'll be hard for me to rewind this and get to the exact spots without Granny's watching, huh? How many people watch this crap? 9,206 people so far. 7 hours ago. It started 7 hours ago. 5 hours and 21 minutes long was it live. Yeah. 5 hours and 21 minutes. I was wondering when people send me this stuff and then like, here, This is interesting. But Julia, thank you for giving me the timestamp, and I know it's going to be good because you sent this to me. So, hi Louise, hi, see, hi everybody. I appreciate having you guys with me. Oh yeah,
But it does look like the
now I have to find it again. Can I? Can I?
There are people that can contest to that.
I wouldn't trust her to have a conversation with a mouse behind closed doors.
Okay, let's go.
Well, you have to give them a chance. That's the
Yeah.
have to give them a chance.
Yeah, you know.
I'm just like kind of taking up space, and I need to get some stuff done. I appreciate it.
That is the only wise comment probably in the whole life. I'm taking up space. Yeah, I think all of you are. But let's see what this particular timestamp may bring our way.
Brunch. Thank you, Sios. We'll see you later.
See you.
Take
Yeah,
care, sir.
see you, man. Get out of here.
Take care, Chris.
Let the door hit
And
you.
were you guys able to get those? Were you guys able to get those billboards taken down?
The billboards, right?
I have no idea. I am not part of any campaign, nor is Katie.
You see, he's not able to say, I have not. He wants to deny something about taking billboards down. Is that what it's all about? I am not a part of any campaign. He is not denying it. He's not denying taking any actions. Did you hear that? He is unable to give you a reliable denial. He started. But it is difficult to lie directly. Beating around the bush is much easier, but then you don't give a reliable denial.
Billboards. I'm making that clear as I can, crystal clear for some. That you know what, at night, Nick, all of them have done. That is their choice. That is their business. At any point in time.
You see, he's making it crystal clear. Why is he saying that again and again? Yes, first of all, he has a small vocabulary, but also because he's not making anything clear at all. When he talks, he doesn't answer the questions directly. He doesn't give a reliable denial, the same way he didn't give a reliable denial when Seth brought up the claim that his mother was seen at worships and that his parents may have had something to do with it. He doesn't say my parents had nothing to do with it. My parents didn't do anything. He cannot say that. He has a hard time lying directly. So he's beating around the bush and trying to give the impression of having had nothing to do with something without having to lie directly. It is difficult to lie, people. It is very difficult to lie directly because the fear of getting caught causes a hormonal reaction within us, the same type of reaction that will trigger a polygraph. So yes, maybe you can prepare for it, but remember what he said about the polygraph. It's an open book cheat test, meaning you can change the questions. You can word it in a way that lying becomes comfortable, where you are able to beat it. If you have a real sucky polygrapher, and they do exist, trust me, it is rare when you see certain guys like, what's his name, DeMarco, who passed away recently, and I believe there are people that are really, really good at just asking two specific questions. And they're basically the same, very similar questions, where you ask more or less the same thing in two different ways, because that eliminates the ability of the subject being polygraphed to sort of escape into their own language and find a loophole within the statement where they can make themselves believe they are telling the truth, or they can use their own definition of what the truth may be. It is much better to ask a similar question, to ask the same thing in different ways, where there is no escapism. I used the example, Peter Hyatt always used the example of Bill Clinton saying, I did not have relationships with that woman. He probably would have passed the polygraph because he didn't consider what happened to be relationships with that woman. That woman, of course, having been Monica Lewinsky, in the ultimate distancing language, using that woman at the end of the sentence and that, the term that. So let's see, Chris.
They can suffer consequences if there is some to be felt. I don't know. But we're not getting involved. Like I said, we didn't, we donated money in the beginning to help with billboards. Thank you, Clue.
He isn't denying taking actions. You see what he is saying? Do you hear this? He started to, but he couldn't finish it. Because this is different from an open book cheat test. He cannot re-edit himself. And he can also not edit the question that's already been asked.
Thank you, Barbecue. Thank you, Duchess, and everybody that it put into it. Thank you so much. But our billboards were one thing. Theirs are a totally different another. That's their choice. That's their opinion. I do think
Dismissive opinion.
Opinions can show the level of ignorance.
Do I even have to reply to that? Proudfoot using the term ignorance. Yeah, I mean he. Okay, let's try to keep a straight face while I'm doing this.
One who decides to do that.
Chris, you know the
People ignorant. Yeah. Let's see.
people that you say Seth's employed, did they try to come to you first?
Oh my God, I don't understand her at all. Yeah. So, of course, what you said that I cannot imitate this.
Okay.
Say it one more time.
She's asking if Nick and them have.
Oh my God, she needs a translator. Yeah. I cannot see. You know what is too bad? I don't see the transcript right now. I can. Oh, that was actually really good. Say that one more time. Chris, what would you say of our talk with the accusation?
I tried to approach you before they approached Seth.
No. They had already talked to Seth when they tried to approach us. And that was shut down very quickly.
Huh.
Yeah, I know people are claiming that they were able to get some of those billboards down. I don't know if I ever saw any proof of billboards being up, to be quite honest, except for the one over here in Philly that was up for, that one day. So
I've seen somebody send me a snapshot, a screen photo, where they were standing out toward Johnson City, Tennessee, where there was a billboard. Now, granted, that billboard did not have anything derogatory on it. It just had missing Sebastian Rogers, blah, 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 blah. It looked like the flyer that was taken from the...
Yeah, searching for a missing boy is blah, 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 blah to him. So he's telling us that this is a joke to him. And yes, that indicates to me that he knows what happened. And the billboards ain't gonna do nothing in terms of finding Sebastian.
TBI.
So that can't be at night then. Was it one of theirs?
It didn't have the TBI information on it though. It had.
Why, was it your photo?
No, it was not her photo.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
I'm not going to divulge who sent it to me, but...
You see, divulge. I'm not gonna divulge. How many times did he use a word? What about reveal? What about something else? Because this is one of the so-called smart words Katie recently taught him when she scripted him. And what do dumb people do when they learn a smart word? Once they got it down, they use it again and again and again. And they reveal it's not part of the language pattern by using it so much without using other so-called smart words in addition. These words seem funny to you guys because they stand out coming out of his mouth. Because we know what his regular language is. And the one where he talked about a baby's blah blah blah, that is the type of language that Proudfoot is using. That's the language he's using on his friends. That's the way he talks. He doesn't use terms like divulge or privy. That is very foreign to Chris. And he overuses it because he's proud of the fact that he learned something new and says, ooh, that's going to shut him up. People like me, they're not going to know what it means. So I got 1 foot ahead, proud foot ahead of them all.
Was it one of their billboards or was it one of the previous?
Maybe it was one of the Billboards.
It looked like it was a blip, but it does look like the pictures that At Night post.
Okay.
It does look like one of theirs.
There.
It just didn't have anything derogatory on it.
Did it have like At Night and Lesniak on it? No.
Nope.
Then it wouldn't be theirs. You
Right,
know they're going to put their logo on everything.
Well, whatever you think about At Night or whoever, if they pay for it, let them put their logo on it. You feel me? They are sucking up to him. They understand what Proudfoot had a problem with. And again, he started to state a denial and wasn't able to finish it. And then he said he's not a part of something. That's not the same thing. He is avoiding to answer the question.
Exactly, Jay.
Yeah,
But if that's the case, then good on them. You know what I mean? If that's the case, then good on them. If they put one up that was more, appropriate and actually beneficial to Sebastian, I give credit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it's their opinion. They can say what they want. Law enforcement has the investigation. They've been looking into.
They're making a lot of money with this, a 5-hour thing. That's why they got 7 people on there. Featuring Proudfoot, the star of the appearance. The reason I'm tuning in, at least a part of it.
Do it for 14 months, going on 15 months.
This is, yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, yeah. Really?
I just want to point out the maturity really quick. This.
It is what it is. That's very final. Everything is very final. Nothing about the future. Nothing about, again, I'm thinking Seth looks in the wrong direction, but he's looking. He's looking. Maybe you'll see a group of kids. Please keep on the lookout. Maybe one of them is my son. The future. He's not sitting there reminiscing or creating like a memorial for his son. He's not doing that. He's talking about the future, about hope. Misdirected, but directed.
It's the maturity of those that come from the quote-unquote clean side. So go ahead and get them out of here.
Weird.
Yeah, that's how these people think and act, and
Weird.
all that good stuff.
Always to that.
Oh my God.
So that's interesting to know there was a Blipboard out there that may have been a regular, Blipboard. That's the way it should be.
Nash Native just said that TBI still has some up in Tennessee as well that she's seen.
Oh, I wonder if it's one of theirs.
I'd say it may be, but like I said, what I was sent a picture of, it was out in Johnson City. So I do know that there are still some floating out there.
Nice.
At Night says there's one in Memphis left.
Floating. You mean like the pills that you dumped into the retention pond? They were still floating, so the dogs hit at them, right?
Oh, At Night, I got news for you, buddy. I think you're paying for something that doesn't exist.
I think they just
You're paying for something that doesn't exist. Sebastian no longer exists.
I
do too. I don't know that on X and through email, a lot of us complained about them at-night billboards. I think they need to be took down. There are a lot of people.
I cannot do this accent. Billboard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I have a better idea.
Who the hell is that woman, anyways? What is she doing?
Stop trying to fight a billboard campaign. Why don't everybody just turn and fight to take out at-night media or One World that is a bogus company anyways?
Right.
I mean, you can't be an intelligence agency without a license.
it's all bogus.
Yep. And I think Granny's going to take them
Yeah, well,
down, aren't you, Granny? Yeah, going for them, babe. I hope so. Shaggy, thank you so much. Lucy, thank you. Hi, welcome back.
Hold on. Someone just put always on empty. No, there's not a $500,000 reward for Sebastian.
No.
Or Summerwells.
Right.
yeah, but why would you be focused on that? I mean, I can guarantee you, even if it was bogus, a parent of a missing child would not take the time to say, by the way, this is bogus. Don't work too hard. Don't try too hard to find my child, because there's only $50,000, not $500,000. You know what I'm saying? People are expected to be selfish with our children. We don't care. That's the priority. We don't care if somebody offers an amount that is bogus, if it motivates people to find. And then later we can maybe apologize. Well, listen, you only got 50 grand, but bless you for finding my child. Why would you discourage people, even if it is bogus? What would you do if your child is missing and somebody says, I offer $1 million? And people say, dude, this guy only has 200,000. And he says, well, I'm backed by some sources, some people, because I have connections, and I'm good for it. They're going to pay. Would you say, no, I need to see proof. No, I don't believe that. Would you do that at that moment while your child is still missing? No, absolutely not. You would not discredit anything, even if you thought it was bogus. You would say, you would hold your breath. You would say, okay, let's try to find my child. Let's be honest here, people. Let's be very, very honest. Yeah, maybe you'll feel bad later after your child is found. But this is not the time to feel bad if it is bogus. If. I have my own thoughts, but I love the ifs. Because unless I have proof of something one way or the other, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to focus on it.
And to help everybody understand this, if you would please go and read what the stipulations are to claim the reward, you're never going to get the reward.
So what? There is no reward. You're never going to get the reward. Yes, because nobody's going to find Sebastian. You already told us there's no evidence. And he managed to vanish without a trace because he always wanted to be a ninja. Yes, we know that nobody's going to get this reward. Because Sebastian ain't going... What is the stipulation? He needs to be found alive? Is that what it is? Okay. Then tell us he's dead. Is that what you're angry about? Because you know he's no longer alive? He's not going to be found, and the only thing it does is shine a light on you and your wife. And it's going to motivate the public to speak about it. And even the people who've decided I better be quiet about it because there's some weird stuff going on here will start saying, you know what? Eventually they will start talking. Sometimes it just takes one person to stand up and say, you know what? I'm tired of the silence. One neighbor. And reveal something. And then little by little the others then, that's like holding a mirror in front of the others saying, you are cowards, stand up. And you better believe others will do the same thing. It just takes one person. And when you see these billboards out there and people get reminded because they don't want to think about Sebastian, if they have some information, like the neighbors who have seen some footage, who have maybe observed other things, but they don't want to come forward. These billboards are like a mirror to them. Look at you. This is what your silence has led to. Your silence has created this billboard that we still don't have the answers. Even though you may have enough to give them to us. That's what the foot is so scared of. Not law enforcement. They have given up, in my opinion. But the public outcry, which could put pressure on law enforcement to actually really reopen the case. Yes, they say it's active and ongoing, but yeah, right. I mean, really get active again, reactivate, meaning be goal-oriented here. And know the only outcome acceptable is to bring somebody to justice and figure out exactly what happened to this child.
I'm telling you, who is going to submit to biometric scanning anyways? A
What?
retinal scan? Fingerprint scan? Are you kidding me?
Full conviction. Appeals
They're
completed.
so weird.
Yeah.
Appeals
Absolutely
can take
zero
30
appeals.
years.
And listen, who's going to pay for the scanning and a fingerprint? Like, where are they doing this at? Their invisible office or the cemetery they'd like to walk around at night? Like, where are they doing it at? They don't even have the ability.
And then when you look at these people who've got nothing, they owe thousands, they owe a lot of money. Yeah.
Oh,
It's just ridiculous.
ridiculous.
There is a legitimate $50,000 reward being offered by TBI.
Actually, no.
FBI.
By the FBI.
The FBI, right, by the FBI.
Listen to Chris Foot. Listen to Chris Foot. Most of the conversations he has a hard time following. You realize that when he speaks and somebody asks a question or interrupts with something or corrects something, he is unable to stop and think about that until he finished his sentence. That makes him good at presenting Katie's script flawlessly almost. But he doesn't have the brain, the flexibility to actually think quickly, absorb, respond. And it makes it even worse that he is censoring himself because he knows he doesn't want to put his Proudfoot in his mouth again.
No.
FBI.
By the
The
FBI.
FBI, right, by the FBI.
By the FBI. See, not only does he immediately love to correct people, he repeats it. You were wrong. You were wrong. So he's not listening to people and trying to elevate himself and get a little bit smarter about something. He's trying to pull other people down. Look at you. You said something wrong. And I'm sure he said in his personal life it's the same. Remember, I need this audio, man, about the phone call with Heather where he argued with Katie about whether or not Sunday was a school night. Oh, Justin, you don't give it to me? All right, no problem. I will get to it eventually. even if it includes your comments.
BI.
It's up to
2. Right. But that is the only legitimate, 100% factual reward that I know of.
Flutterby, thank you so much. Well, Deshaun, I'll answer you there. Who cares they get the reward, though? If that large number makes someone come forward with that info, that's all I care about. That large number is not making anybody come forward with any information. If anything, it could be interfering in information coming forward. Because a lot of people are onto what a scam these people are. Do you know how many women are behind the scenes crying because they trusted these guys?
Whether or not it is real or not, or a scam or not, or whatever you allege, that doesn't make a damn difference to me. I'm still interested in the case the same way.
And gave them their IDs and signed NDAs and all types of stuff. These guys are intimidating at least. So if anything, they may be interfering in people coming forward.
Well, and plus, when you have rewards that high, $500,000, do you know how many fake tips you're going to get?
Right. Yeah. And then they sit there and say,
it's stupid.
We get fake tips because of these people. These people are making us get fake tips,
That's what they were saying. Like the law enforcement was saying in Summer Wells, like you don't want too high of a reward because then you start getting a lot of
Where are they at with the Summer Wells case, anyways?
F shit, if you will.
Right.
Wait, I'm shocked and disgusted that LA in Hendersonville haven't come out and shot these claims down and said something.
She said Hendersonville. Well, Hendersonville Police
Yeah, it's scary. I'm starting to understand her.
Department doesn't have anything to do with the investigations. I live outside of city limits, so the Sumner County Sheriff's Department is our police force where we live. So they would be the ones to come out and say anything. Now, they've come out and they've done a press release, I think 2 or 3 times. And other than that, they're keeping everything very quiet to the chest simply because everything that's been going on, they can come out and say whatever. And guarantee you, people will run with it and say, no, they said this, and they're going to tear it apart. I'll tell you the number one personal, the one that I know that tears every single thing apart, doesn't matter what it is. Clutch those nuts, or clutch those pearls. Sorry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That idiot went out there and just said something about a drug bust, saying Crabtree and Clue got arrested.
Right. And he was so excited.
Yeah, he was so tickled, like somebody done dipped him in chocolate and fucking let him, the husband, lick him clean. He was so excited.
He didn't put on his makeup.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's Justin from Clutch and Pearls. All right. I don't know what to say. He is probably this is Justin is probably, you see, I talked about it's amazing because the other time he used amazing was, it would be amazing. It's when the truth comes out, it'll be amazing because he can correct all of these YouTubers and put them out of business because he can confront them and say, you see, you got it so wrong. Because he knows that a lot of YouTubers get things very wrong and they are guessing around, of course, but when yeah, he that's the level he will stoop down to. That triggers Chris. When Justin their motorcycle. When Justin talks about whatever he talks about, Edgar. So that's when he gets flustered, and he can't wait to stick it to him. He is very, how you say it? He's very split. On the one hand, he does whatever he can to cover up what happened, in my opinion, allegedly. But on the other hand, he's itching, man, because he loves to correct people. You hear that? The FBI. Again, the FBI, not the TBI, the FBI. He cannot stand knowing something that other people do not know. Whenever that is the case, that's how he survives in society. He points it out immediately. When other people, ignore it and say, "Yeah, this dude is wrong, but I got my own stuff to think about right now. It's not worth getting into," he gets right into it. That lifts him up a little bit. And it is sending the message, look, I'm not that stupid. I know something you don't know. And in this case, everything is very amazing. It is absolutely amazing to him that there is no evidence and that there are so many search efforts. The biggest one for a missing child in Tennessee. And he is a part of it, allegedly. He was able to mastermind something, which, of course, would be more like assisting his wife masterminding something. But just being a part of something that others cannot figure out, that's the first in his life. And that's how he feels he can get some respect from people. And he feels very secure in himself, coming on these shows and leaning back, knowing he knows what others do not know, what many do not know, what most do not know, what some of us do know, but he doesn't reply to that. He has to first see you say something wrong. And a lot of YouTubers, yeah, of course, I told you guys before, there no evidence. They do everybody. People, they're doing what they're doing. Edgar
didn't even put on his makeup, didn't play his intro, and then decided while he was live that he was going to call and see if the information was correct. It's like, wrote good source of credible information over there.
And you know what the best part is? He didn't get a mug shot of Crabtree. He didn't get a mug shot of Clue. So once again, you got an idiot out here running his mouth. And yes, I say he's an idiot, and that is a fact. That is not my opinion. That is fact.
Well, let's do an IQ test. Justin versus the Foot. Whom do you bet on? If it's the Foot having a higher, let me try this from, that's what Reporter Room did, right? Well, if you think it's true, do a 1, post 1. If you think it's wrong, post 2. Who you think has a higher IQ? If you think it's Justin, press 1. If you think it's the Foot, press 2. Who has the higher IQ? I can guarantee you, well, I'm not going to influence the outcome here, but I want to see whom the public, having observed a little bit, would go with in terms of who the idiot may be.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, and he's caused a lot of issues in other cases, not just this one. And he's everything that's wrong with social media.
No, there's nothing wrong. Listen, social media is the reflection of the population. Don't blame social media, man. Seriously. Oh my God, I don't want to go back to life before social media, because I use it to research. And it's effective, and it's great, and it's immediate. If you're an idiot, you will use social media for idiotic things. Believe me, I can imagine what types of searches you will see on Chris Foot's computer, aside from anything related to Sebastian Rogers. Probably swinger stuff and a bunch of idiots. Probably a lot of dumb questions. Or dumb stuff. Or just, believe me, it'll be very... I would love to see these searches, man. Because, people are being themselves when they talk to Google, so to speak.
Oh.
Well, I mean, once again, who goes on to an actual news, some form of a news network, throws some fake ass evidence saying some stuff, not only that could potentially put him in some serious trouble, but land that media company in some serious trouble. Who does that?
But Chris, it didn't last 24 hours, did it? 12 hours, less than 12 hours that were took down. I think they realised.
But once again, he reacted without doing his investigation, without knowing anything. He just says, ooh, I'm going to be the first because I'm so tickled that some of these people who he cannot stand, he thinks are in trouble.
Do you want to know what I think about that?
No.
This guy, I've seen him in action for years. He just doesn't care. He will put out whatever it is that gets the clicks and the views. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. And that goes for any child case he's covered. He's disgusting. He doesn't give a shit.
All you have to do to know about his credibility is think about the major networks that pulled their interviews with him on their off in a heartbeat. Think about that.
Think about that.
I mean, even the fact that he even...
I got the answers that I was looking for from Chris. I truly appreciate it. Keeping you and Katie and your families in prayers. God bless you all. I'm out. Y'all have a good day.
Out.
Thank
Bye.
you so much, Chris.
Jess, I just popped up here really quick to pull this up again. You and I went over this the other day on your stream, but not to cut anybody off, but if you guys want to read what they're talking about with the reward's actually been changed since this update came out too.
Oh,
just
God.
so everybody knows, it's on At Night's website.
So maybe I should go a little bit back before I started, right? Because this seems to be... Let me try something here, people, okay?
Okay, I'm going to eat a whole bag of pretzels when I get off of here, so forgive me. I'm sorry. I will mute myself. You
Wrong guess. They're talking about food.
all can go ahead and be mushy. Cool down.
I'm not kill me, girl.
Whole bag of pretzels.
What I'm saying is,
Rebel.
I think it really changed a lot of our minds and made us see the light.
Jesus. What have I done? What is this word coming to? Huh.
Then you have the other side, the biological father. So, with everything that's been said and done, the biological father is pissed off. The mother is pissed off. I'm pissed off. But
No, don't include Seth in anything, dude. He's continuing to do that. When is Seth gonna come out and make an official statement? Chris, keep my name out of your damn mouth. I am not with you. I suspect you of at least knowledge of what happened. And there is no we. There is no us. You don't need to blow up and call him any names. You can do it in a classy way, Seth, without Tony sitting there silently watching and listening, except when he's giving the evil eye to his wife, interrupting him for a minute or two, or a second, or a few seconds. You don't need... I feel creepy by Tony just sitting there, just looking. You know what I mean? And I know Seth is like, Seth, you are a father. You're nobody's baby. You know what I mean? Stand up and start speaking on your own behalf, even if you make mistakes. Why do you need a spokesperson?
the difference is how we point and
Or have a spokesperson, but don't let the person control you the same way Chris used to control you.
release our angers is totally different. The biological father, without a shadow of a doubt, has gone to social media. He has talked to the neighbors. He's talked to anybody who will listen to him. And he
has a right to do that. And actually Seth expressed his doubt in the ability or maybe even willingness of law enforcement to do their job, which is expected. If you see them getting no results, you will take your own actions. So the fact that he even points this out is a huge red flag by itself. So imagine the thousands of red flags that he's already revealed in all of his interviews.
has said the things that he has said. I'm not going to repeat them.
Yeah.
Because repeating them would mean repeating claims that you claim you cannot talk about or you are afraid to even touch. For example, where was your mama? Where was your mother? Where was your mother around that time?
Me.
Yeah. But see, all of that, you've got two different points here. It's like one side is so mad he's got to vent his anger and push it in a direction which he only knows how. Vice, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I haven't done that. I'm not going to do it.
But he has.
I vented a little bit on Clue Show one day, and, I still apologize. I shouldn't have done it, but...
Would? But would.
If that individual ever wants to have a conversation, she's more than welcome to have that conversation with me, and I will let her know.
Oh, God, please don't. What I don't understand, though, and I'll be honest, is you did have that moment, and I was disappointed in it. I think I was one of the very few that did not cheer that on. I was so upset about it. I thought it was just as bad as Seth. And
you know what is strange? Okay, I see now 10,228 views in 7 hours, but only 26 comments. What is that all about? Over 10,000 views so far on this video, only because the people listening may actually be ashamed to show their faces in there, as they should be. Because most of them are not listening to see if there's an important statement. They're listening for other reasons. Or they are so mindless, they just don't know how to communicate at all. I'm sure the live was pretty fast, but it's different to say, oh, this is cool, in a live chat, or formulating an actual sentence in the comment section. There's a big difference. So this crowd, of course, is less likely to leave a comment or reveal thoughts that they do not have.
It was gross. What was said about her was gross. I don't support it. I don't support it being said about anybody. But that's after months and months of a buildup, right? Where you remain quiet. You got to mute. Whoever's talking.
Never interpret other people's actions for them or other people's words for them. Don't answer for other people. This is why this is a completely worthless interview for the most part, except the floating part reminds me of similar statements, equally dissolved. Right, Chris?
Sneeze in the background, please mute. Where you had a buildup of this person and these people repeatedly doing saying the nastiest things about you, your wife, your life, things they don't even know, but they were such facts.
And don't forget the vile shit people have said about Sebastian, the child. Right. That is actually.
You mean he is known for peeing on himself and defecating on himself, and he's awkward, and he gets into your space, and he hasn't mastered. You mean like that? That vile? No, I haven't heard anybody say this, except you. I've heard nobody else talk like that about Sebastian. Not even your wife. Nobody. Absolutely nobody.
Actually missing our son.
Right. And that's what I was about to say. And this is and it was ironic because I just said this, that I think it was the same day that ended up happening. I said, when you listen to this vile stuff enough, you end up responding as vile and not even...
Oh, shut up. Let's see.
So...
you're cutting out, Chris.
Her attorney...
Oh, there we go.
Say again?
You were cutting out for a second, but we hear you now.
Okay. Her attorney... in the original, going back to when she had for Zell, okay? Her attorney there states that he brought up, that my wives and my parents, their order of protection should be dismissed because the Tennessee Participation Protection Act. That's what he said. Now, granted, she did not file an appeal in accordance with the law stating that she has 10 calendar days to file once the ruling's been done.
Is this about Betty? Yeah, okay, but does it help us find Sebastian?
File that. We go to court for mine. While we're in court, they had brought up the other three. Judge Blanton says, you missed the deadline. We're not healing that. That's dismissed. Boom.
No.
Moved on to my moving forward. But also, and I'm pretty sure there will be a motion to request a stay because of the appeal.
Really? That's cool,
that makes
man.
perfect sense. I get it. Thank you.
I get it, dude.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Could you explain that? They request a stay?
So,
Like
stay is...
stop?
Wait a
No,
minute,
so
people.
basically
This is
everything
let me
doesn't
check
move
something.
forward. Everything has to remain in place. The orders of protection are still in play. Everything. No, that will not happen.
And that's very important that people understand that. The way of Tony saying, hey, you can trust me, is I never put this stuff public about Caleb, so go ahead and trust me when it comes to Sebastian. And meanwhile, he literally gave out footage
Wait a minute.
of that young man.
Viewer-wise.
I think we've always been shown the real faces of everybody involved. It's just the emotional manipulation.
The hell are you?
Of the game.
Festival of Morons or what?
You can trust me, is I never put this stuff public
I don't
about
care what it's
Caleb,
about.
so go ahead and trust me when it comes to Sebastian. And meanwhile, he literally gave out footage of that young man. Oh,
Sickening.
he is sick.
Thank you so much, Chris, for answering that question. And I apologize for
What was the question, man?
Which Breaking Change just broke down that they literally were speaking about, like, oh, we got connections with Dr. Phil, and we're going to make a Netflix series. And
Listen, you got these people that have tried to make it big for whatever reason, whether it's productions, books, movies, ghost tours, whatever they're doing.
And nonsensical 5-hour lives.
And they hear Dog the Bounty Hunter level, right? And that's what they all wanted. You heard Tara Lynn. That's why she signed the NDA. I thought Dog was really coming here. They all thought that. They thought they were going to be, and you know what? Fuck them. I mean, if that's all it takes to get these people to have no morals is to throw some quote-unquote famous celebrity out there and taunt them with it, I think that we've been shown the real faces of the people that fell for it, to be honest, like creator-wise.
Nat was commenting.
Well,
Not viewer-wise.
I think we've always been shown the real faces of everybody involved. It's just the emotional manipulation aspect of the game that a lot of people have played has fooled a lot of people.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's why most of these people, like the creators wanted the fame aspect of it, and the viewers didn't realize that was the creator's goal. They instead believed their message, and that's where they did manipulation on the audience.
Okay.
They put fame and growth in front of their moral compass.
So, but that leads me to this, which is...
I know you guys are commenting on this one in the section, so I don't need to.
What I've been wanting to ask for a few minutes now, I'm sorry.
Please ask.
But if where does it all start then? Like, does this start with Seth, and that's what leads me to this question, Chris. At what time did Seth come to you about Tony trying to push him off as a PR for all of y'all? And do you know how long he had been in communication with Tony before he came to you?
Yeah. So, I don't know the exact date, but it was early on. April stands out for some reason, but I think it could have been March. But
March.
so keep in mind, the saying is, or the saying was, I don't know how much truth there is to it now, but Pascal was the one that got Tony in touch with Seth. I've heard it.
Yeah,
Pascal said he had nothing to do with it, but
shit, it's been verified. It even came directly out of Tony's mouth. Yeah, Pascal put me in touch with Seth,
And I guessed that early on because Pascal was like to Seth, "Oh, I got somebody you should talk with, and I got a guy to hook you up with." And next thing you know, those two came on the scenes together. So yeah, absolutely, it was Pascal.
So that, however, that transcended. Seth had been in contact with Tony long before he had talked to us about Tony. He had mentioned he had talked to Katie directly to Katie at that time about hiring a dog handler and having Tony as a PR person. He didn't come to me directly. He went to Katie directly.
Okay, let's hear about the dog handler.
And my
then
dog
after that,
handler.
Yes, good.
Hold on, let him finish.
After that, Katie said, she told me about it, and I said, will you tell him to email you the information? He emails me the information. He didn't send it to Katie. He sent it to me.
Okay.
So I looked it over, and
because I think Katie just doesn't reply to him. Sorry about the time-wasting part, but it's going to get to the dog handler. I want to hear that.
Phone calls. I'm not going to hire people just because you want me to hire somebody. I'm going to do my homework. And I started digging into the canine handler, Captain Valente.
Oh, okay. Yes, please.
Jules, whatever people want to call her. Looked into her. I talked to TBI about her.
And?
I looked into the background on Tony and gave everybody their due diligence, and I listened to them. Katie and I had a conversation with Tony.
Let me guess, you can find quite a bit on Tony, but not on Julia. On Jules.
This was early in the investigation. After what we heard, we decided, no.
Okay.
Not going to be a good fit for us.
Mm-hmm.
Tony originally said he wasn't going to do it unless all three parents were on board. Come to find out, Tony and Seth had an agreement well before that.
By the way, I care about Sebastian. I don't give a crap about Tony. And mind you, as long as Seth is in his shadow, I really don't care what Seth has to say either. You know? I know he didn't do it. He has nothing to do with it. But I think he needs to move out of that shadow. I think it's time. But I said it before.
Now, whether or not they will admit to it, that's their own personal choices. That's not here or there.
Hold on, let him finish. Let him finish, please.
Listen, honest to God, guys, we got to stop with the interrupting, okay? He's not... I get it. You're excited to say what you have to say, but if he's not able to finish, then we don't even know where he's headed. And quite frankly, we don't even understand what you're interrupting for.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I get it. It's like
he's headed nowhere. That's why she's interrupting. He isn't saying anything important. I would interrupt too. I'd say, listen, man, where's Sebastian? What did you do with him? What do you know? That's probably what I would ask. What do you know?
And I get it. I get, you know what I mean? I get when you want to say something, but he's like literally in the middle. Recap is something very important.
Oh, yeah?
So when all this transpired, we heard information about Tony, about some other things prior to him.
Yes, we know that.
He had told us some very personal information about the Caleb Harris case. And when he told us that, after we got off the phone, Katie and I looked at each other and said, if that son of a bitch was allowing for him to tell us that information about that case, who's to say what he's going to tell other people about Sebastian's case? And at that point in time, we said, no, that will not happen.
So Tony trusted you with some information, probably because he wanted to get you on board and be a spokesperson for all of you. Not a wise move on his part, but who knows, man. Tony is no match for Katie Proudfoot. He may be brighter than Seth and Chris, but he's no match for Katie Proudfoot. And Katie Proudfoot would not let a guy like that represent her. I do understand that. I wouldn't either. Let me see where I was. I can't lose this timestamp, people.
And that's very important that people understand that. The way of Tony saying, hey, you can trust me is I never put this stuff public about Caleb
So go ahead and trust me when it comes to Sebastian. And meanwhile, he literally gave out footage of that young man. Oh,
Sickening.
he is sick.
Thank you so much, Chris, for answering that question. And I apologize for interrupting. I wasn't sure which dog handler you were talking about was what I was asking. I apologize for that.
About Jules. It's been a year now. That's the one, the only one. Canine Gator on X.
And thank you for answering that question.
So here's a question: were you aware of Tony's like his associate?
I want to hear what you have to say about Jules, you dip. He's not interrupting about Jules right now. He's not volunteering anything because you know why? He can't. He doesn't have anything. He has a lot on Tony. So he's happy to volunteer knowing something. But about Jules, I'm still waiting. Let me see. Maybe he does. I don't know.
It's like Nina Glass and kind of the, you know, did you get into all of that, or just him in that conversation was enough to be like, yeah, I want no involvement with this guy?
No. So during the conversation, Tony did say he had some connections to some investigative teams that he had helped use during the Caleb Harris case. Now, he did refer to Nina Glass. He did not give her name directly, but he did refer to her. So that's why we were able to start putting pieces of the puzzle together. And the more we looked into things, the more we had talked to some people, it was like, absolutely not.
Okay. I understand.
I mean, what a selling point, right? Like, hey, you want me to be your spokesperson? I just protected the last kid by keeping X, Y, and Z private. I mean, that's not a very good, con artist, in my opinion. Like, that's pretty obvious, and good for you for picking up on
Good
it.
enough for
Especially,
Seth.
you know, when he does this shit, right, he does this to people that are in emotional states of mind. So, had you not been thinking clearly and agreed, you know what I'm saying? It's so easy for someone like him to take advantage of people.
I mean, one of the things that Katie and I have learned, and I hope Seth has learned this too, in any situation, and this goes for anybody out there that may ever experience something so traumatic, it doesn't matter what it may be. When there's people that start coming out of the woodwork who say, hey, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, my recommendation, do not take them for their word. You can say, I'll consider it, but look into them. If you need a spokesperson, go hire a lawyer. I mean, as crazy as it sounds, hire a lawyer. They know the law. They know what they can say.
I don't know how much money Seth has. He's building a house, right? I don't know how many donations he's got. It's none of my business. I do not care. I didn't contribute, so it's none of my business what people give. But did he have money to hire a lawyer at the time? Maybe not, right? Would a lawyer have taken his case or spent time? I don't think so. So who would spend time? Somebody who may think he will become very wealthy eventually. We are talking Netflix. We're talking about turning Sebastian's name into a huge brand without actually finding out what happened to him. So in some ways, Chris actually starts to make sense a little bit here. But again, I don't understand Seth. And I don't want to understand him, to be very honest with you. I just know that he needs to stop listening to people so much that it makes him inactive, and he cannot publish things where he bosses around volunteers, telling them they cannot make a move without him, which I think, of course, Tony has written. But it is your son, so it is you are the only spokesperson Sebastian has right now, Seth. You are the main spokesperson. to the world. And you need to grab your balls and do it right. And put the pressure on. Otherwise, it'll be a very long journey of going around in circles. Again and again and again. Until one day you will wake up and say, everybody screwed me over. And you'll complain about it. As you did complain about Katie on Vinny's show, Core TV. What did you do about anything in the past? You know, don't repeat the same pattern. Don't be passive here. That's what my message is, and I cannot hold it back because I'm being realistic. Otherwise, I do not see the case being solved unless Seth changes things up a little bit. A lot. 180.
Hire a lawyer. They know the law. They know what they can say, they can't say. And law enforcement is probably a lot more receptive to a lawyer.
That's true.
And working with them because they know what they can and cannot say. They know what they can and cannot do.
Yep, they're not going to mess with someone like Tony. And the Petitos are a really good example. Whenever they gave a press conference or any kind of announcement when Gabby was still missing, their lawyer did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how you know that he's not a spokesperson, because the spokesperson's not supposed to ever take the light off of the main character, which would be Seth.
Yeah. And
instead, they got this weird duo relationship going on that makes Tony... I don't even want to go that far. I will say this. Tony's behaviors during this case will follow him for years to come. So all these characters that thought they were going to, use Sebastian's name to ride their way into, like, this position... I'm so glad you all did all the missteps you took, because now every family to come will know exactly who and what you all really are, and nobody will fall for your shenanigans again.
That's right, girl.
And here's a public service announcement for everybody out there. If you don't think people who have experienced trauma or victims don't talk to potentially future victims when something happens to them, you don't think people don't put each other in touch with each other, you're nuts.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Just because those families are going to explain to them exactly everything that has happened to them, who said what's said to anything, who's done this, who's done that, who they recommend, who they don't recommend. That's a little keynote that I don't care who you are and what your role is in this world. Word of mouth travels, and that's very important.
Yep, that's why hashtags are important too.
Yeah,
yes,
it's not going to happen again. Hashtag.
And that's why Seth does all his dirty work on other channels.
I swear in a couple of minutes there will be a good part. I'm deciding whether or not I forward, because I'm scared I'm going to miss something, but it won't be much longer.
Drives me nuts too, because then he goes back to his channel and he plays this character, and it's so obvious what it is. They both do, him and Tony.
Well, those two might want to kind of slow their roll for a while.
Seth? Oh, really? Seth doesn't play a character. Tony, yeah. I hate to say it, but what they say about Tony, I have to agree with a lot of it. Not all of it.
I'm sure they're going to be quite busy for a while.
Oh.
I agree.
Yeah, because they're not going to find Sebastian. They'll be quite busy for a while.
I agree. I think everybody has a moment, and everybody's time comes, and I think people want quick answers and not realizing that it's not always a quick solution.
It's been a year.
I think it's very telling too of those, call them green team, call them whatever, and whoever you want to. But I think that's also very telling with what Chris said, that this, it came to mind for him April, but maybe even as far back as March. And then take that information and think about the interviews and stuff that Chris would be given on these panels, and automatically Seth show up or something like that, and it gets sabotaged and then intentionally trigger Chris, in my opinion.
Oh, God, I cannot listen.
Well, they attempted. Keep in mind, I lost my shit on Clue Show, and once again, I apologize, but it was 15 months when I finally snapped.
Duchess on there commenting?
Well, I know it was round about beginning of March.
Roundabout.
Round.
Tony
deleted all the videos and photos on Caleb's page and made it Sebastian's page.
Can you understand
So
her?
I reckon it was round about that time, beginning of March.
I'm not sure exactly when.
I mean, a lot of people have accents, but can you guys understand her?
You know, my condolences go out to the Harris family and everything they've had to gone through, and the Wells and many other cases.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I publicly will say this. I wouldn't recommend Tony Mathis to tie his own damn shoes. Period.
Well, I know that Tacky Tony still had a GoFundMe for Caleb right up until 3 months ago.
Mm.
It's dodgy.
Up until 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean up till 3 months ago?
She's saying that the GoFundMe was still up and running until about 3 months ago.
So, we're talking about Sebastian.
Well, for the Caleb Harris family?
Yeah.
I guess. And Tony being the benefit, you know, the creator of it.
Yeah,
Beneficiary.
he was the beneficiary of the GoFundMe as well.
Well, I mean, all they have to do is file a complaint with GoFundMe, and they can handle that on a legal aspect.
Yeah, if it's true.
Yeah. I mean, I don't care who you are. I don't think raising any funds on the back of any trauma deal where you're a victim is actually okay. Now, like, if you need help with, like, medical bills, fine. I understand it because it's very costly. However, you don't want to have any involvement, period, with it as the victims. Like, that should be something so distant that has nothing to you. It really shouldn't.
Okay.
You know, and I don't think families should know anything about it if that's something that, you know, somebody wants to draw up a collection for something, whatever. I'll tell you right now, one of the best things that we experienced locally was the food train. I mean, our neighbors are amazing. We've had friends and family that literally would come over.
They're amazing because they keep their mouths shut.
And they would bring food. Because when you're involved in things like this, you don't think about eating. You don't think about the day-to-day things. You have to be reminded you've got to eat. You know, you've got to sleep.
Right.
You know, as crazy as it sounds, you got to be reminded of once in a while, hey, look, go change your clothes. You've been in those clothes like 2 days now. Go change your clothes because your mind is constantly racing. And everything that you take for granted on a day-to-day basis, you don't think about.
I should have forwarded a couple more minutes.
That I'm gonna tell you now, communities across the country, wherever they are, that do these food trains are amazing. Absolutely amazing.
All right.
What do you think the impact of social media does, like from your perspective, having to have experienced this firsthand?
God, please.
Do you find that social media has been, and I know you'll have like a really good answer, probably of both.
I'm not going to
Do you
last
feel it's
much
been
longer.
more beneficial to Sebastian's case or more harmful?
Unfortunately, I think it's
beneficial. Social media in general, when it comes to missing children, is extremely beneficial across the board. Because you don't need to wait for a TV special or a milk carton or whatever else. It is all about what you make it. If your intentions are to help find a missing child, you get people to spread, to retweet, repost. If you have something to hide, social media can be toxic because people can come at you with questions you try to avoid. You can have discussions where maybe a friend of yours asks a question who doesn't know you had anything to do with it on Facebook in a group. And somebody who lives in the area but not close enough to be scared of you makes some very valid points. And your friends get to see that. You know, the ones who don't really get it but start to suspect something. And people realize, wow, the Proudfoots are not telling, they're hiding something. Why? Not necessarily what are they hiding in detail, but why? Why are they hiding? Why would you hide anything? Let me see how much longer I got. I think it's a couple of minutes, 5 minutes or so.
Sebastian's case are more harmful.
Unfortunately,
I don't care what the foot has to say, but I have to listen to this to get to the next part.
I think it's been a lot more harmful to Sebastian's case than I would say helpful. Only because of how much detriment that was put on.
Then get off YouTube.
In the investigation with the investigators, the detectives, and all these entities out there that had to pull so many assets away to go deal with nonsense, frivolous crap, that didn't need to be. Well, we saw Chris's truck in Arkansas. We saw it at a speedway. We saw blah blah blah. And what do? They have to take an asset away and go investigate. They have to, But a lot of those tips were called in because of social media. Now, it is a 50-50 split. There has been some great things about social media.
Oh, really?
I.e.,
oh, cool.
The young man who was found up there at North Carolina-Tennessee border at the mountain.
Great.
That was a really good close lookalike. The young man that was found out in California. And there were some other places, but it was all spread through social media because
you're interested in all those cases, but not Sebastian.
The awareness of his case. So I think there is some positives. I think the negatives, if those could be curtailed, as in getting rid of, stop trying to point fingers and push blame automatically, and just stick to the facts of what you know. I think social media would be super, super amazing. It is a known fact most people don't get their news anymore from television. They get it all from social media. So, that's kind of where I stand with that. It took some creators to teach me that, because I still thought everybody would get it from the news, but...
What year do we live in?
Clue and Cletus have told me, and they're like, look, here's statistics, here's this. Look how many people follow this person. And
all right, let's get to it.
And the rescue creators out there, you have done...
Mind you, they're 4 hours in now.
Jobs. I'm not going to knock you for the negative or the positive. I think it's been amazing across the board because it allows open perspective, for people to see it from different angles. I welcome that. I just don't welcome the stupidity of a few.
You don't welcome what is best about social media, which means it allows people to take a closer look at persons of interest and realize how in many different interviews they contradict themselves and give many red flags, tell many lies, and you can re-listen to it again and again and again and exchange information. He is threatened by it.
That decide that coming to my hometown and doing some stupid things is smart. I think it's very immature, irresponsible, and quite honestly, very dangerous.
Oh, really?
Because you don't know who you're dealing with.
You mean you? Is that another threat?
I think that's the scariest part, is you just don't know. And I tried explaining this to people. You don't know who is who, and you don't know who's watching.
You see, He has a hard time doing things over the phone because in person he could be more intimidating. He feels like that. So every once in a while, what can be perceived as a threat leaks through.
You don't know who's going to believe what you're saying and take matters into their own hands. It's a really scary place.
And you can see that these idiots have nothing to reply for a while because they all kind of get it. So she's yapping, trying to overshadow what he just said.
They came to social media to give out information about Sebastian. They didn't come out to bash Seth or to build a team or to do anything as far as public perception goes. It was very focus based. It was strictly Sebastian. We saw that turnabout come when Tony came.
Bash Seth? You admit to bashing Seth? Why would you bash Seth? I'm criticizing Seth left and right because I think there are certain things that would benefit him in hearing about, but you actually tell us you're bashing Seth because of Tony. Why bashing?
My opinion, and I'll never forget when Tony said gloves are off, referring to you guys, and I feel like that is when everything completely became what it is now, which is an embarrassment.
It was before. After Seth blew up at Trevor Lee, I remember that day. That's when people went to use that to start hate channels against Seth.
I did. I responded, Tennessee Terry.
That's when people who had nothing to offer and no desire to figure out what happened to Sebastian were able to go online and talk about Seth for 3 hours and air what he said to Trevor Lee, how he yelled at him and said, this guy is one of us, the way he speaks. And now we have an in into the case.
Do you want me to pull it up? I'm telling you right now. So, can I do it publicly, Tennessee Terry, or you want me to do it privately?
Do it.
I know it's not. They were wondering if this person looks like Sebastian to you. To me, it does not. Obviously, you would know better than I. So I don't want to get you upset thinking like this may be him. But I'll go ahead and show you as she's asking because I wouldn't want to.
Almost, guys.
It didn't come up. Hold on.
Who are these people?
Everybody's big heads in the way. Let me move y'all. Hold on.
Regina.
All right. There we
Big
go.
Mean CP. That's his name. Big Mean CP.
This gentleman right here, I suppose.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, that's definitely not him. So why even, that's not Sebastian. Why even bother?
I didn't think so either. Thank you for keeping an eye out, Tennessee Terry.
Glasses are just so everybody can understand. The glasses are wrong. Jaw structure is wrong. The nose is wrong. The chest is wrong. The age
Glasses are wrong. He could have had new glasses if he was alive.
is wrong.
He looks older.
Yeah, that person looks well inside of their 20s, mid to late 20s. Weight. He's probably a little heavier than Sebastian was. So that person's probably around 140 to 150.
So what? He could have gained weight. Maybe he would have found people who are not starving him.
Facial hair is very dark on his face. Now, granted, everybody's like, well, it's been 15, 16 months. Yes, okay. So keep that in mind. Sebastian had dirty, blonde, brown hair. So his facial hair is not going to be very dark. It's going to be very light.
All right,
yes,
guys.
glasses can change. I understand that.
Glasses can change. Now he gets hung up on the glasses. Remember what I talked about?
Bone structure does not change.
Yeah.
And that person in this picture is not pigeon-chested. like Sebastian is. So that's another thing.
Is that something, Chris, that they spoke to you about yet, or I hate to say it hasn't not been a long enough time, but an age progression photo? Have you guys considered that?
All right, guys.
Photo, have you guys considered that? Is it too soon? Because I know
I think it's too soon. I think they do it like every 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah. So at this point in time, no, there's not been one that's been considered. I mean, we can ask, but I mean, at this point in time, we don't know.
Because one thing that stood out to me was Katie stating he was starting to grow a mustache, and I look at my son who'll be 13 in a month, and he damn near grew 2 inches overnight. And one day he was like, "Mom," and I'm like, "Oh my God, what happened?" Like very recently. So I know they changed so damn I mean, he made me jump. I'm like, "Who's this man talking to me?"
What?
And it was
my teenage boy at age 15, 16, he didn't change much until he was like 18, 19.
Wow, it's so interesting.
He changed up, but when he got to like 15, 16, he didn't change much.
Wow.
I mean, if I had to guess right now, based on the time that surpassed the biggest changes about Sebastian, I mean, we go off the standard basics. His height has probably changed. His weight may have changed. His hair color may have changed. These are all things that one has no control over. I mean, it's just in genetics. I mean, it's going to happen. Bone structure really doesn't change. I mean, it'll grow larger, but it doesn't change in like the form in itself.
right. Now,
In what? In formality? Does he know the right terminology here, or he was about to say formality?
It's like my son, his hair gets lighter in the summer. Does that happen with Sebastian as well?
Kind of, yes. If he's outside for a long time, yes.
Okay. And I'll never forget, I asked you this over on Truce, and honestly, I think it was one of the most, in my opinion, not to self-praise myself, but let me do it, it was one of the most beneficial questions and answers that I've ever heard, is when you described identifying features about Sebastian, such as, I believe you said the freckles.
Yes, Sebastian has freckles on his neck. There are 3, maybe 4 predominant freckles. If you're looking at him, it's going to be your left, but it'll be his right hand side on the front of his neck. His chest is actually very noticeable. He has pigeon chest, which basically what it has happened is he has a cartilage that grows on one side of his chest faster than the other.
Okay.
And it kind of pushes out, almost like one of the chest bones is sticking out farther than the other one.
It's the first I'm hearing that.
So that goes back to one of the pictures I think somebody saw. He had a brace on, and that's what that brace was for. It was to help correct it. And then they were like, "Well, he's not wearing it." Well, that was Sebastian.
Okay, so yeah, sorry guys, I didn't know what to expect, and I thought there was going to come anything more from it. But it took a year to mention certain things, right?
Choice, that was not ours.
But hey guys, thank you for listening to what was, I think, interesting until just a few minutes ago. And yeah, what have we learned? What have we learned? What is he allowing us to learn about Sebastian? What is he telling us? He is going on these lives, and I will take a little more time to listen to other parts and keep it short on the next time. because I still see the possibility there may be some leakage. But again, the older interviews are still the best because he's gotten careful. And this becomes too hard to listen to. This is just, I don't know what to say. Thank you for watching.